For most of its life, this animal appears to do almost nothing. It sleeps, sometimes for nearly 20 hours a day. It moves slowly, lives alone, and seems almost completely silent. By every measure, the koala should be one of the quietest animals on Earth. But the Australian forest tells a very different story. When the sun begins to set, the silence suddenly breaks. A sound explodes through the trees. Deep, powerful, almost impossible. That came from a koala. And it's only the first clue that these sleepy animals are living secret lives. Lives built around one of the most remarkable communication systems in the natural world. If you've only seen koalas sleeping in wildlife parks, you've probably never heard this sound. It doesn't match the animal making it. A fully grown koala weighs only around 10 kilograms, yet its call can sound more like a massive bull echoing across the forest. For decades, scientists couldn't explain how something so small produced such an enormous voice. The answer wasn't inside the voice box. It was hiding just outside it. Koalas possess a unique pair of specialized vocal folds unlike those used by any other known mammal in quite the same way. Think of them as a second instrument built into the throat. When air passes through these folds, the result is a deep, resonating bellow capable of traveling through dense eucalyptus forests. But the sound isn't random. Every call carries information. It tells nearby koalas who is calling, how large he is, how confident he feels, and whether another male should stay away or prepare for a confrontation. For koalas, their voice is their first language. Most of the time, that voice is enough. Imagine standing beneath these trees at sunset. One male bellows. Far away, another answers. Neither animal can clearly see the other, but each is already making a decision. If one sounds stronger, the other often walks away. No chase, no fight, no wasted energy. Just one conversation settling the argument. But sometimes, neither male backs down. Then the forest witnesses a very different side of the koala. Those sharp claws built for climbing rough eucalyptus bark become powerful weapons. Males wrestle, bite, push, and slash at one another over territory and the chance to breed. The peaceful image most people have of koalas is only half the story. Yet even after the roaring stops, the conversation continues. Every mature male carries a scent gland in the center of his chest. As he climbs, he presses it firmly against the bark. To us, nothing seems to happen. But to another koala, that tree has become a message. Who passed this way? How recently? How dominant they are? Whether they're worth challenging or best avoided. Every familiar tree becomes a living notice board. A language written not with sounds, but with scent. The forest has never been silent. We're simply unable to read most of its messages. But perhaps the strangest conversation of all takes place before a baby koala can even make a sound. A newborn joey is no bigger than a jelly bean. Blind, hairless, and completely helpless. Its first journey is a desperate climb through its mother's fur toward the safety of her pouch. Months later, another challenge appears. The only food it will eat for the rest of its life is poisonous to almost every other animal. The young koala has no way to digest it, until its mother gives it something extraordinary, a special substance called pap, rich with beneficial microbes needed to break down toxic eucalyptus leaves. Without them, the joey couldn't survive. Long before it learns to communicate with sound, its mother has already passed on the most important message of all: how to stay alive. People often laugh at koalas because they sleep. They call them lazy. But sleeping isn't laziness. It's survival. Eucalyptus leaves provide very little energy, and they're filled with chemicals the koala's body must constantly detoxify. Every climb, every movement, every war costs valuable energy. So evolution found a better solution. Don't communicate more. Communicate better. One bellow can travel through the forest. One scent mark can last for days. One tiny gift of microbes can prepare a lifetime. Every message does as much work as possible while using as little energy as possible. And there's one last surprise. Remember those paws from the beginning? Look closely. Those tiny ridges. Those loops. Those delicate whorls. They're fingerprints. Almost identical to yours. In fact, they're so remarkably similar that under a microscope, they can be difficult to distinguish from human fingerprints without additional context. Separated by tens of millions of years of evolution, two completely different species arrived at almost exactly the same solution. One lives in cities. The other spends its life high among eucalyptus branches. Yet both carry nearly the same signature on the tips of their fingers. For generations, people believed koalas were simple, quiet, sleepy, almost boring. But hidden beneath that peaceful appearance is an animal constantly exchanging information. Through powerful voices, invisible scents, a mother's first gift, and even fingerprints that strangely resemble our own. The Australian forest was never silent. It has always been speaking. We simply didn't know how to listen. If you enjoyed discovering one of nature's hidden languages, subscribe to The Wild Tells, because every creature has a story, and the wild always has another secret waiting to be uncovered.